Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Presley, and in this video today, I'm going to be giving you my full review for the New 52 Flash run. Now, this is not any single volume, this is the entire series, so let's get into it. Now, the Flash is easily my favorite character in comics, and especially in DC Comics. So when I was reading the New 52, the Flash is actually the very first book that I picked up. Volume 1, Move Forward, was one of the first 3 books in my entire collection. And I started reading the New 52 a while ago, but then I completely stopped. So for The Flash, I only got up to Volume 5. But now recently, I have ended up reading the entire series. So what did I think about it? Well, I thought it was great. It wasn't peak like I wish it was, but that's okay. The book is a little bit bipolar. Sometimes it's really, really good. Sometimes it's okay. But the book definitely takes a transformation throughout the entire series. Books 1 through 4 are written and drawn by Francis Manapul, and then he completely leaves the book. And then Volume 5 is written by Brian Buccellato, and it's got artwork by a couple different artists in there. And then Volume 6 through 9 is all written by Robert Venditti, with a lot of the artwork being by Brett Booth. So the book doesn't feel super duper consistent with itself as it flows along, but I actually think it gets better. I think volumes 1 through 4 are good. Well, let me rephrase that. I think volumes 1 through 3 are good. I really don't like volume 4. The artwork is still solid by Francis Manapul, but the story about what they did with the Reverse Flash there and him being fused with the monorail, I really, really hated that storyline. I did not like it at all. But volumes 1 through 3 are good. The invasion of Gorilla Grodd, the revolution of the Rogues, and Flash gaining his powers at the beginning, those are all good. Volume 5 is okay. It feels like a filler volume. It doesn't feel like there's anything too special going on. We are seeing more detective work for Barry, which I do like, because I feel like in this run, we've gotten a pretty good mix of cop Barry and Flash Barry, but there hasn't been a lot of detective Barry. It's mainly been him at the precinct, so I like seeing volume 5, him using a little bit more of his detective skills. And then 6, 7, 8, and 9 were a bit more solid. I will say I really enjoy the introduction of the Future Flash in here in volume 6 and 7. I thought they were great. Brett Booth's artwork really complements the Flash well. I love the way he draws proportions. I love the way he draws muscularity. I love just the coolness of his artwork, and it's paired with a beautiful colorist who almost makes the book very metallic looking, so I thought that was interesting. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting in this whole run is how they decided to use Patty Spivot as the main love interest, and Iris West was basically a friend the whole time. Now, I know that in the Rebirth series, because I read a little bit of it, Barry's more in love with Iris, but in this whole New 52 series here, Patty Spivot is the main love interest, and I like that. Patty Spivot feels like a cute character, and she feels very close to Barry Allen, and I love that they work together at the precinct so that there's a little bit of tension there when they maybe aren't on the best of terms. And then I also love how the people closest to Barry Allen are a little bit at odds with the Flash, especially Wally West and Patty, and even Captain Fry. They don't really trust Flash, and they have to have their minds changed later on in the book. I like that whole dynamic. I like seeing them kind of talk to Barry about him not knowing that he's the Flash, and kind of seeing his inner monologue like, man, these people that love me and that I love hate the Flash. And I like that dynamic throughout. I thought it was good storytelling. I thought it created some nice, well-deserved tension. Now, speaking of tension throughout this book, I thought the series ranged in terms of villains. Some of them were pretty good. Some of them were okay. Some of them were great. Now, Volume 8 does house the best villain, Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, also known as Zoom. But then there's some very mediocre villains, like the one from Volume 5, who's just an old, like, cave miner. Volume 1 is one of Barry's old friends who has found a way to multiply himself. That was okay. I'm trying to think. Volume 4 had the worst villain with the Reverse Flash. And there's going to be a little bit of a spoiler here. Daniel West, which is Wally West's dad, Wally West's uncle, is the main Reverse Flash villain. I thought it was stupidly done. It was not well executed at all. But Future Flash being the villain for Volume 6 was also incredibly cool. I love how Barry's kind of fighting with himself. But other than that, I would say the first half of the series has some more memorable villains besides Volume 8, because we had Gorilla Grodd, we had the Rogues, and we had his friend. So I thought overall, the villains weren't too bad here and there, but again, Volume 4, not good. Now, one thing about the series that I really enjoyed was Barry Allen throughout. I thought he was consistently well written. I thought They treated him well. They treated him like I feel like Barry Allen should be treated and written. He is always trying to do the right thing. He's always trying to save the day. He's always trying to find answers for who killed his mother because he knows that his father is innocent. And even though a lot of people in the story try to push him away from that and tell him like, hey, your father did it, get away from him, stop dealing with him, he still pushes through. He understands that, no, this is wrong. He was wrongly convicted. So I think Barry Allen is written very well throughout a lot of these issues. There's not really any standout issues where I could say they did a bad job with him. Overall, he feels very consistent, and he feels like one of the most consistent things in this entire series. Now, within this series, I did kind of wish we got a few more members of the Flash family. We had maybe 1 or 2 issues with Bart Allen, that's it, but then he goes off to the Teen Titans. We didn't get any Wally West, like any redhead Wally West. We got young Wally West that was Aunt Iris's nephew, but we didn't get any Jesse Quick, no Max Mercury, Jay Garrick, none of that. I feel like the Flash family is missing a little bit. It does make it feel more like a solo Flash book, which is good for me because I personally love Barry Allen, but I also love when the Flash family comes along. I wanted to see more speedster villains. We only got 2 speedster villains. That was the Reverse Flash and Zoom. If you want to count Barry Allen Future Flash as a villain too, that was 3 volumes. But other than that, we had all normal humans or metahumans as villains and no other Flash members. But yes, overall, to wrap up the review, I really did enjoy this Flash run. I gave some very high scores throughout, a lot of 4s, a lot of 4.5s. Volume 8 was definitely a 5 and a standout throughout the entire series, but Volume 6 and 7 leading up to Volume 8 were also really good. Volume 9 was also surprisingly really good, but Volume 5 and 4 kind of kept this from being a 10 out of 10 series. I'm going to give the Flash series an 8.5 out of 10, or about a 4.5 stars. It's not as good or consistent as the Justice League book, and I don't want to be biased and say, hey, because I love the Flash, I think it's better. Honestly, if you had to read one of these, I would say read the Justice League because it's a bit better writing and the artwork is consistently amazing throughout. But the Flash book is really great too. If you love the Flash, you're going to love this one just like I did. So that has been my review. Thank you so very much for watching this video. Let me know if you've read The Flash from New 52. If you have, let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't, I would suggest reading it or just start with the Rebirth stuff. Both of them are great, but thank you so very much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.